After building an amphibious canoe from scratch using fabric, wood and old bike parts, I pedalled, paddled and sailed across the width of the stunning Scottish Highlands via the Caledonian Canal and Loch Ness. I will now attempt the return journey to Fort William on land. I'll traverse the Great Glen Way, a series of hiking trails, forest tracks and canal paths, facing steep inclines, rugged terrain and all the challenges it may hold. I found the beginning of the Great Glen Way.
Up there?
Yeah.
On this?
Yeah. Is it impossible?
It's hard enough on a mountain bike.
Is it narrow or is it just steep?
It's narrow and steep.
How narrow are we talking?
This bit here, it's overgrown as well.
Thank you. Good luck getting up there.
I'm on a really steep hill and I'm just bouncing on the front pedal and we're rocking back and forth. And you can see the top part of that chain just drooping there. That means that this whole rear section of frame is flexing in that direction to give it that slack. So when I've got a minute, I may put some lines across the back to help reduce that flex. It feels like those might be the last houses I'll see for a while. And I am drenched. Nice and dry on the jacket, just my lower half is sopping wet. This is another brutally steep bit of hill. This is the speed I can maintain. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, and I only move a few inches each time. But I am lifting the boat, the luggage, and the mechanism at the back. Right sprocket down there keeps skipping. Left wheel tries to take up the strain and then slips. It looks like there is clear sky ahead, which, well, not clear, let's call that misty, but there's nothing up there, which means that we're probably near the top. So I'm going to keep pushing. I've snapped it, something's broken, shot back down the hill, and I've spun off. That chain, which was taking all the strain, that's failed. It looks like it's still intact and it's just popped off. Wow, okay. Did not expect that. I thought it would have snapped. Maybe it's stretched. Yikes, okay. Well, that's quite good in a way. Maybe I can get it back on. Let's have a go. I've managed to just work it back on with my fingers, which is worrying. It shouldn't be possible to do that. And it means the chain's probably stretched or the rear frame has bent. So I think it'll be a case of continuing and maybe just dragging it up the steeper bits. It's happened again. Something's given, powertrain's broken. I suspect it's the same one. This time I had my hands on the brake. So let's investigate. Yeah, same again. Wonder what's causing that. It might be some bent teeth, or maybe this chain just is too stretched now. I think I may have met the limit of the design sooner than I'd hoped. Within probably the first, let's call it 3 miles. No, let's call it 5 miles of this off-road adventure. I think that's it. I think we're at the top. Oh, it's getting dusky, getting misty, and I am soaked to the bone. Time to find a camping spot. Flat at last. The chain back there does keep slipping under even the slightest hill, so it's going to be new chain tomorrow, I think. And that's the only spare chain I've got, so I'm going to have to look after that one. I've been scouting around on the edge of the forest track here, and there really isn't any suitable ground. It's sodden and boggy, and there's blood moss everywhere, which means that it's pretty much always like this. So head torch and onwards. I'm completely soaked through, so I've built myself a fire, and it also means that I can cook the sausages that I got as a reward for reaching the North Sea at Inverness. It's a real struggle to get out of the tent this morning. I am not looking forward to getting my wet trousers on and wading through the tick-infested undergrowth. But it needs to be done. I need to get that chain changed, and we're going to get back on the road and just go really carefully, because I definitely found the limit of the boat's capability yesterday. So it's not conclusive that this is fully stretched out and broken. It looks like the chain has extended 3 or 4 millimeters of stretch. Old chain versus new. That might be enough to cause this, but it seems unlikely. The other test I'm doing is just a quick flop test to see how much it deforms. So we've got the old one on the bottom and the new one on the top, and you can see that there's quite a lot more flop in the old one. You know what, it might be this stretching and wear, but it also might not be. So the only way to find out is to put this new chain on. It certainly looks and feels a bit better, but yeah, I have my reservations. I've just come to adjust the wheels and spotted that this chain is off. And I did not see that, and I'm not sure when that happened. The whole wheel has tilted in that direction because the tension there is so great that it pulls that bolt inwards. I've had a closer look at this sprocket, and I think it's bent. I think this whole sprocket structure has cupped. That could have happened when the chain popped off, but that's bad and may mean that this side fails. This wall here is absolutely killing me. It is lined with the most incredible looking blueberries. And I'm just like cycling along here, drooling. It's really bad. I just want to get out and eat them all. Oh, it's gonna be another blueberry break. No, my hands aren't clean. And no, I don't care. I'm a happy man when covered in a chain grease and blueberry juice. See if we can get all of these in one. Mmm. 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 It's looking a little bit too narrow. but I might squeeze through. Oh, yes. Excellent. Looks like lichen, blankets of lichen. Never seen anything quite like it. And it's moss. Sort of greying blankets of moss. Thick sheets. Wow. We have a folded sprocket. That's catastrophic failure of the right hand axle to wheel sprocket. Continuing very cautiously on a single sprocket drive. I'm aware that the whole load is going through just that one sprocket. But then again, at times the whole load has been going through just one sprocket, and that's probably what caused that, because when you turn a corner, the inside wheel takes all the load. That is not good, because the chances of this one then failing increase dramatically. Not only am I down to one wheel drive, I am very low on water, but I do have the water filter, which, to be honest, I don't trust that much, but I found some pond water. So this is going to be backup solution. It looks pretty clear, actually. I've got this bottle and I'm going to fill it up as emergency. A little bit murky, but much better than the Loch Ness water. That is a tick just strolling around on me. Two having a snack right next to each other. I've had about 25 on me so far. It's absolutely heaving with them. Cloud has come in and it is time to head down the hill to Drumnadrochit and assess what can be done about this sprocket and decide on what's next. But I need to get cracking because these midges are a bit overzealous this morning and I don't want to give any more blood to them. So off we go. Around this time, I posted a message on my social media stories on the off chance that someone from my audience might live nearby and could receive a delivery of parts, and perhaps lend me a drill for the repair. Okay, I'll admit it, this bit is nuts. Everything else has been pretty much fine. If there's an easier route down, I will be taking it because I've nearly lost control of this about 3 times now, just sheer momentum and poor brakes. And if a brake, just one brake were to fail, I would just shoot off. Then that would probably destroy the canoe if it went off, something like that. And then water mode would be out of action and it would be a whole mess. So caution is the watchword, and if there is an easier way down, I will be taking it. This is the Great Glen Way route. And this is another route, quite overgrown. and clearly not very used. Maybe there's a tree down, maybe the road's washed away, I don't know, but it seems like a much more reasonable path to try and attempt. Before making my final decision, I'm just going to explore both routes. It's this sort of slope which I'd really struggle with. I'd definitely lose control on that. I could tie it to the tree and let it down slowly with a rope. That's definitely an option. But I think I'm going to try the road out first. This area is absolutely heaving with ticks. I just brushed past one bit of grass and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that I can see. There's probably more. Lyme disease is a massive issue. I'm just running the chances of getting it, I suppose, as does everyone who comes out hiking. I could be wearing more suitable clothing like long sleeves and sort of tight and tucked in, but I would just be sweating buckets even more. So this is a problem, and it's hopefully one I'll get away with. So the back of the canoe, pretty much all the weight is resting there because I've just got myself into a really tricky spot, and the wrinkling in the skin's fascinating. Balancing on the front wheel and that, I'm amazed this thing hasn't snapped in half. Clear. Whew. I've been going down this slope for about half an hour now, I'd say, and my hands have got this sort of rictus claw going on. Oh, stop. Oh, these brakes are vastly insufficient for the purpose. They are just about keeping me at safe speeds, but any more and it'd start running away with me and I'd have to put my leg over the edge. Definite upgrades needed for the future. I've had some food, done some thinking. What I'm going to do is head to a campsite, have a good night's sleep, get really clean, get my clothes washed and get all these ticks off me. And then tomorrow, wait for some components to arrive, maybe if they arrive in time. And if they don't arrive in time, I will set off and attempt the climb with one-wheel drive. Fully rested, fully fed, and the options. The first is to head back to the water. I'm right next to Loch Ness. I could head back to the water and get back to Fort William that way. Don't really want to do that. I would like to stick to land and really push this boat to the limit and see if it is possible to get back to Fort William via the Great Glen Way. Option 2 is leave now, so one-wheel drive, and knowing that the potential failure point is that sprocket. And then option 3, wait for some parts to arrive today or tonight, and then go and collect them, install them tomorrow, and then leave tomorrow, giving me a better chance of actually making it along the Great Glen Way. I've decided to go with option 3 as it feels like the sensible thing to do and reducing the chances of failure, and therefore reducing the chance of me being stuck in the middle of nowhere and having to hike it out. So, option 3. This afternoon I will do a full check over of the boat and then wait for parts to arrive. biggest chunk of damage that I can see is this, and it has just got through to the fibres, and even that's debatable. I think it's still in the polyurethane coating, but that's definitely the deepest gouge, and that's very okay. I'm very happy with that. A bit of failure analysis. So not only have we got this obvious folding, we've also got some ovalization of these screw holes, which means that the bearing stress, so the pressure acting on the face of the screw hole, is in excess of its yield strength, so it is beginning to yield. If this were fully constrained and had more bolt holes, I think it would have done certainly better. It may still not have survived. As luck would have it, Andy and his son Thomas spotted my request for help on Instagram. They went out of their way to drop off spare parts and even lent me a drill and files for the repair. Thank you so much, guys.
There you go. You can give that over, Thomas.
Look at that. That is fantastic. You guys have absolutely saved my bacon. Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
While rebuilding the drivetrain, I noticed some sprocket misalignment. I resolved the issue by cutting and reinstalling the spacer sleeve that fits over the axle. The boat is about as ready as it's going to get. It's time to hit the next section of the Great Glen Way. Based on how the first section went, I am feeling a little bit nervous, to be brutally honest. If this fails in the middle of nowhere, then it's ditch it and hike out, or drag it out. The body's in shock. It's panicking. What the hell are you doing to me, you idiot? Just go back on the water. It will be done. One way or another, this hill will be conquered. This is the speed I'm going though. A few inches at a time. I was attempting to go around this corner here, and all of the load went through left hand rear wheel, and it's done that thing where it pulls the wheel hub towards itself, loosening the chain, then the chain begins to skip and bounce. This is not good. That'll be causing some nasty wear and tear skipping, and is more likely to mean that the chain just breaks completely. I've stripped all but the essential luggage out. Obviously strawberries are essential, and I'm going to try and cycle and pull this up the hill. If successful, I'll come back and get my luggage. If unsuccessful, I'll just roll back down, pick up luggage and head back down the hill. Looks like I might be getting towards the top. Even without luggage, my legs are burning. Final push. Back to get the luggage. Made it to the top. Now to get this luggage back. This is Alan, the second saviour of the trip. He very kindly went and retrieved all my luggage from the hedgerow and has brought it up for me to save me having to heck it back down the hill. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Ben. It's very heavy luggage, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Like a Viking on the roads with your ship.
I'm pretty sure there's some Viking in here somewhere.
I'm sure there is, mate. Good journey to you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
spotted this big mossy area up on the side of the Great Glen Way, and I thought I'd come and have a look. And it looks like there's a quite significant quantity of wild boar around here. All of this is boar snafflings and diggings. They must be rampant here. I haven't really heard any. Definitely deer around, but I haven't heard any boar. But I think they're very, very shy and cautious generally, so I'm not sure I would. This marks roughly the halfway point of the land journey back from Inverness to Fort William. The drivetrain has needed some new components, but otherwise it works. I mean, there's still a chance for it to fail dramatically, but so far it's done incredibly well. And given the trials that I put it through, I'm dead impressed. And will be using this in the future, and probably will be offering this as a product for people to commission and then buy. Soggy situation. It's on the persistent and intentional level of rain. It's ramped up a few notches now. It's got to the I will dampen you in every crevice kind of level. So it's been over a week I've spent with her now, and I've got to know her personality and her traits and her foibles a little bit better. And I think I'm going to dub her Wee Hen, or as the Scottish would have it, Wee Hen. And the relevance, she feels like a small bird in a big bird's body. Wee Hen. Yeah, I think that's her christened. Cave session over. Back on the road. Seems to have stopped raining sufficiently to at least get a little bit drier as I go along. There's more water in the boat now than after the wind and waves and rain on Loch Lochy, Loch Luyt and Loch Ness. So that was quite a downpour. I'm scoping out the next bit of the trail, and it's looking brutally steep for a paddle. It's not impassable. I think I'll probably have to take luggage off and then drag it up most of the way here. I'm drenched. I'm actually a little bit cold for the first time in a while, and I am going to quickly set up camp and get in there and warm back up. Time to get the towel out at last. This tick wins for sheer size. Sorry mate, time's up. Oh, there are clouds of midges out there. Look at this lot. They're just hanging out, ready to snack on me. Oh, nasty. whilst having breakfast, I noticed this in the sunlight. There's some wrinkling on the skin and it's loosened quite dramatically. I think when it dries out, it should tighten up again, but we will see. The mysterious crack. It's still there, but it doesn't appear to have grown anymore. It's a thoroughly locked gate. Quite unusual. Normally the gates are open as well as pedestrian access to the side. And here is the access, and it's very narrow for wee hen. I think this has got to be one of the largest mushrooms or fungi that I've ever seen. That's the size of it. It could be a sep, penny bun, but not entirely sure. It's a beautiful thing. It's gigantic. I wonder how much it weighs. It's got to be at least a kilo of goodness, that. Wowza. Oh dear. I'm gonna have to give it a go, but I think that's too narrow. Oh, I've measured up, and the width of the boat from pedal paddle arm to pedal paddle arm comes to the tip of that leaf there. So we're all good on that side because it could probably fit down there. That side, not so much. I'm going to look for a different way out. This could be an alternative route out. So over the river, big stones, squeeze through that gap somehow, and then up this bank through this lot out to what looks like someone's driveway. Investigating the crack I gave it on that rock. Looks like I might have punctured the skin, but might have got away with it. We'll see. Bridge problem solved. All packed up, ready to go, and head into Fort Augustus. At last, I have made my way back to the very easterly tip of Loch Oich. Last time I was here, this is the exact spot where I was being blown off by wind and waves. And this evening, it's much calmer, and I'm going to be finding a camping spot next to the water for the night. This camping spot is pretty much perfect. There's an existing fireplace with some kindling left by the previous user, always very handy. And there's a little breeze, so the midges aren't quite as ferocious as they were earlier. And of great importance is access to the water, because tomorrow, wee hen and I are going to be hitting the water again, but only for a short period of time. This is the original route along the Great Glen Way, but due to tree works, it's actually shut. So I've decided to hop back in the water, skip round the obstruction, and then head to land as soon as I can on the other side of the obstruction, rather than taking the alternative route which has been laid out further to the north. It's a mercifully calm morning on Loch Oich this morning. I'm going to get cracking as quickly as possible for a short stint of water mode, because the longer I leave it, the more likely that breeze and then the waves will be picking up. Back on the water at last. I've left the chains on, which means that the wheels are spinning and splashing. So at about this speed, it's fine. There are a few splashes once in a while. Much faster, and then it starts to kick up a fuss and I get wet. So I'm going to stick at about this speed. It's a gentle poodle, I'm in no hurry. And then if I need to, I can pull over, whip the chains off, and we can go turbo speed. After giving the bottom of the boat a thorough banging and whacking yesterday whilst crossing that little stream, I've been keeping an eye on the water level in the bottom of the boat, and all is fine. It doesn't appear to be rising fast, and there's a bit of accumulation. I think it's rained from the other day and splash from these wheels. Nothing to worry about. Looks like that's the other end of the road blockage. So I can, in theory, go ashore whenever I like now. However, getting up there is going to be the challenge. Here comes the wind. Just all of a sudden it's picked up, and within the first few seconds, literally, the ripples are at about an inch or so. I think I have spotted a slipway ahead. That looks like one to me. Hopefully I can get the boat out there. Yep, definitely a slipway. Quick transfer and on the road again. Well, I've measured up with my trusty piece of grass, and I think that if I take the arms off, I might be able to squeeze it through with a centimetre to spare each side. Oh, with millimetres to spare. Yes. Back in the water at Loch Lochy. Just a very short stint across to just basically round the corner so I can rejoin the northern edge of the shore and the Great Glen Way. Otherwise there was just literally no way across. So quick stint back in the water, and then I think it will be road mode rest of the way back to Fort William. With the chains on, this little crossing is turning out to be a very wet experience. With the waves and the wind, it's blowing straight onto me. I'm gonna take a little bit of time to dry off and then onwards with the journey. Should have taken the chains off. I am drenched. Frequency thunking has developed in the drivetrain somewhere. I think it's from back here. It's really hard to tell because it's only happening when it's under load. Definitely clunking back there. It seems to be getting more pronounced. Problem identified. The idler has completely crumbled. Quick and basic test, I've popped both chains on the same runner, which is fine for a short distance, just to test to see if it's fixed the clunking and thunking, and it has. So that was the problem. A good temporary solution. I've switched the tension side to this outside idler, which is in good condition, and switched the slack side to the inside, slightly dying idler. So that should now be much less of an issue. However, given the fact that this chain is so much further out on this bolt, it's more likely to bend that bolt. So I'll have to be careful going up really steep inclines. That is what a leaky tent looks like. And it's working its way down inside, and I'm getting soggy in here. Time for new seams or a new tent. This MSR tent has been fantastic, but time is up. We go. the final descent. I think maybe 200 meters to the finish line. And we are done. The finish line at last. And that is the Atlantic Sea. What a journey. Mission complete. We, Hen and I, have made it back to Fort William on the Atlantic Sea, and this marks the end of our adventure. If you have enjoyed this journey and would like to see more, please like and subscribe. On to the next adventure. It has all come together through the support of others, all of whom have had a modicum of belief in what is possible. And for that, I thank you. It's hugely appreciated. And without you, this project probably wouldn't have come to fruition. 5 minutes into the return journey back to Sussex, and my dear van has decided that it wants to permanently keep its back brake on. So I'm parked up in this car park waiting for a mobile mechanic to come along with a new brake caliper. Thanks to your incredible generosity, we've raised a total of £4,500, providing 22 life-changing prosthetic legs. Each prosthetic will empower a child to regain their mobility and independence. Perhaps one day these children will embark on adventures of their own. Thank you for being a part of their journey.